Hey guys, how you doing? Hope you're doing well tonight. This is Matthew with Dyson Photo Tutoring. I am going to show you tonight how you can get great headshots with very minimal equipment, okay? You don't need to have really big fancy studio lights in order to get some really good headshots. One of the really cool things about being a photographer, and one of the things that you're going to hear a lot, is that you're always going to be able to get headshot jobs. Okay, headshot jobs are something that is sort of considered the bread and butter in a portrait photographer's catalog. So you're going to be asked a lot to be able to do headshots. Okay, so you want to be able to have some sort of a system that's going to be able to travel very easily. That's going to be small and fairly lightweight. Now, what I'm using tonight is I am using two speed lights. Let me grab one of these off here, and I will show you what I'm talking about. Um, I am using just two off-camera speed lights, and I am using what is called Rogue flash benders. Okay, Rogue flash benders are small, they're compact, they're portable, and they are absolutely elegant when it comes to shaping the light that's coming out of a speed light. The thing about using speed light photography, if you're not using really big, large modifiers, is there's no way to direct the light. And if you are in a small studio space, you're in a small home doing headshots privately, or if you're doing them in a small office, you don't want to carry really big, large, huge umbrellas and softboxes, okay? But one of the key elements to a good headshot is that you want there to be a good amount of separation between the portrait subject and the background, okay? So what we've got is this. This is a Rogue flash bender, okay? It's just a white reflector that is capable of bending and twisting in all sorts of directions because it has these metal bars, metal rods on the inside. And these metal rods can bend, okay? What this is going to allow me to do is I'm going to place the speed light here on this light stand, and instead of just having the flash aimed directly at my model, who, by the way, is my beautiful 13-year-old daughter, Alana. Say hi, Alana. So what we're going to do is instead of having the flash just blast her straight in the face and be overpowering, I'm going to let the flash go up into this reflector, which is the Rogue flash bender, and it's going to help scoop the light around, giving a good wraparound to her head and help shape the light a little bit. Go ahead and step forward for me. Okay, right about there. Now what I've done here in the back is I've taken another Rogue flash bender, and one of the coolest things about the Rogue flash benders is that you can turn them and you can curl them up and wrap them around into a snoot. Okay? Now what a snoot is, if you're not aware, is it's basically like a long barrel, like a shotgun barrel. Okay? What it's going to do is it's going to allow you to direction, or give a good direction to the light coming out of the flash, and you can really fine tune it like a spotlight. Now, the problem with just using this one light here in the front, which is going to give us great illumination on her face, and it's going to give us good wraparound for the head, is that the back of her head is going to really start to, again, bleed into and become one with the backdrop. We don't want that. We want some separation. So by using a small speed light and wrapping a flash bender into a snoot, I'm able to give a lot of direction for that light right here to the back of her head. That's going to be a really nice hair light that's, again, going to help give that separation. Now, one final thing that I'm really going to have, something that's going to help me fill in extra shadows that's going to pop up here on her right side, is I'm going to have all this nice light coming from over here, okay? Coming from her left. I'm going to illuminate the left side of her face. It's going to give some wraparound. The hair light in the back is going to illuminate the crown of her head, giving her a lot of really good separation, again, between her head and the backdrop. But we're going to fall into a lot of shadow here. So instead of having another speed light, what I've got is this. It's just a simple reflector, okay? The reflector, get it very close to the subject. You want to get it very close to the subject because the larger the light source and the softer the light you're looking for, the larger the light source gives you softer light, and the closer that light source is to the subject is also going to give a softer light. Okay, I'm opting here for a kind of a combination of gold and silver just because I want to add a little warmth to her skin tone. However, a lot of people will choose to use a white reflector just because it is just a nice, soft, neutral light that's going to come into her face, okay? So, how I'm firing my flashes is I am using the the Photix Odin system, okay? It's just a radio-based wireless transmission system that's going to tell my flashes when to fire. The vast majority of cameras that are bought today are going to be able to allow for optical slave firing of the flashes without the need to have these radio triggers. These are just something that I'm very comfortable with using, so I'm opting to use them now. But again, if you're in confined spaces like this, if you're in an area where all of the flashes are going to be able to see your camera, the optical trigger that's built into the pop-up flash on, again, of a large variety of the cameras that are out there today, you won't need these because that optical trigger is going to be able to fire those flashes full TTL. If you're not familiar with what TTL means, TTL stands for through the lens. It's the light that's coming in through the lens of the camera. The camera is able to meter and read that light, transmit the information to the flash to tell the flash exactly how much power to put out on any given section. If you have multiple flashes, whether you're using a Photix Odin radio trigger or you're using the TTL based optical slave flash system built into your camera, if you're going to be able to control these flashes as far as power goes. So if you get a little bit too bright or a little bit too dim on any given flash, you'll have the ability in camera or on your radio trigger to balance that light out, okay? So let's kind of see what we've got here. All right, I'm getting just a little bit too much shadow on this left side. So her right side. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to pull my reflector in a little bit more, okay? It's going to get the reflector really close to her face. I'm going to still have a really good scoop of light coming around here. It's going to hit into the reflector and fill in this shadowed area under her chin that I was getting just a little bit too dark of lighting. Smile for me. Pretend like you're having a great time. Outstanding. Now, look here just a little bit back towards the light. What I want her to do now is to look up just a little bit into this light and away from this to help round out the light into the bottom of her eyes.
I have a question on our Facebook page.
Okay, we have a Facebook question coming in.
What lens or lenses would you recommend for a crop sensor camera?
For doing headshots, a crop sensor camera, for doing headshots, it's a little tricky. It depends really on the size of the space that you're using. I would go for either a 35 millimeter or a 50 millimeter prime, or if you can, a 24 to 70 millimeter lens, because that's going to give you a little bit of variety and range. With a crop sensor camera, you get a little bit more telephoto than you do with a full frame camera. A crop sensor camera is a camera with a slightly smaller sensor. So if you're in a confined space, if your focal length is too strong, then you're not going to be able to get far enough away or back far enough to get a good composition, and you'll end up with just the face, which is not a good thing. You need to at least have from about the bust up. So in order to get that with a crop sensor camera, again, either a 35 or probably a little closer to a 50 is going to be the best range. What I'm shooting here is a 24 to 70 millimeter lens. Now I've got a full frame camera here, but the principle is still the same. With a 24 to 70, I've got that 35 and 50 and 70 range all in that barrel. So if you're, again, in confined spaces, you can get to where you need to be and then recompose that shot in the camera, which is really nice. Okay, step a little bit closer to me. There you go. Now look a little bit this way. Look at me with your eyes, but turn your head that way. Beautiful. Absolutely outstanding. It's good to have good, pretty daughters that you can use as models. Okay, I'm going to illuminate the hair just a little bit more because I had her move. You don't have to pay your daughters, but you do have to feed them a lot more, which really I don't know if that balances out or not. All right, turn your head just a little bit this way. Perfect. Outstanding. Okay, I don't know if we're going to be able to see what I've got here. Let's see if I can get my camera to focus in a little bit better. No, not just real well. But what I'm able to do is I'm getting a lot of good even lighting, just a little bit of shadow under her chin to give a little bit of contour and give, again, that separation. Now, the key thing to take away from all of this is I'm doing this with fairly minimal equipment. The most expensive thing that I have to deal with as far as accessories are the speedlight flashes. But the benefit of having off-camera lighting is that if you just fire a flash that's straight on the camera into your subject's face, you're going to get a very harsh light, you're going to get very hard shadows, and you're not going to have a flattering look, okay? If you are able to get your flashes off camera, you're able to shape the light, you're able to create shadows where you need to create shadows, and you're able to create depth where you need to create depth, okay? Another key thing to take away from this is that because I am using small compact speed lights that go on top of the camera, I'm able to take them anywhere. They're extremely portable, they're extremely lightweight, they travel very well. Instead of having to use very large modifiers, I'm able to use these Rogue Flash Benders. They are incredible devices that are able to shape the light in any way that you want, really. So that's something that I would use. Also, again, remember to have a reflector. You may not necessarily need the reflector, depending on where you are, but the reflectors are always a really nice option to have because they are going to fill in those shadowed areas. If you guys have any questions, please feel free to hit me up on Facebook at facebook.com/DysonPhotoTutoring. Send me a message on my website, DysonPhotoTutoring.com. Be sure to check out more periscopes. Hope you guys have a wonderful night, and as always, happy shooting. See you guys.